On December 4th, 1872, a ship drifts into view off the coast of the Azores. No signal, no response to hails. When a boarding crew finally climbs aboard, they find the sails set, the cargo untouched, and personal belongings sitting exactly where they were left. And not a single person on board. Not the captain, not his wife, not the 2-year-old girl who should be sleeping in the cabin. Gone. The ship is the Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine that sailed out of New York on November 7th, 1872. In command is Captain Benjamin Briggs, experienced, well-regarded, not a man known for recklessness. His wife Sarah is with him. So is their young daughter, Sophia. 7 crew members round out the 10 souls aboard. The cargo is 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol, bound for Genoa, Italy. Not the explosive substance it's often dramatized as, but denatured alcohol used to fortify wine. The voyage should take about a month. Briggs has crossed this ocean before. He knows these waters. There's no reason to expect anything but a routine trip. When the crew of the Dei Grazia boards the Mary Celeste, the first thing they notice is how normal everything looks. The wheel isn't lashed down. Some sails are still set, though others have torn loose and are hanging in shreds. The rigging shows damage. Frayed rope, some of it dangling over the side. Below deck, it gets stranger. The captain's cabin is untouched. Sarah's sewing machine still sits with fabric under the needle. A child's toy lies on the bed. The ship's logbook is still in its place. Last entry dated November 25th, 9 days before discovery, roughly 400 miles from where the ship is now found drifting. The crew's personal belongings are still in their quarters. Money, a gold watch. Nobody grabbed their valuables on the way out. That detail alone rules out a hurried robbery. One lifeboat, the yawl, is missing, along with the ship's papers, the chronometer, and the sextant. A length of rope trails off the stern, as if something had once been tied there. Down in the hold, about 3.5 feet of water sits at the bottom. Not alarming for a wooden ship this age, but enough to notice. 9 of the 1,701 alcohol barrels are later found empty. The cargo hatch covers are lying loose on deck instead of sealed shut. The pumps have been partially dismantled. The sounding rod, used to measure water in the hold, is missing too. Like someone needed to check the water level more than once and needed to check it fast. Every physical sign points to a crew that left in a hurry, but not in blind panic. Someone thought to take navigational instruments. No one thought to take money. Here's where the case turns from odd to genuinely baffling. Investigators expect to find blood, signs of struggle, evidence of piracy, anything that explains 10 people vanishing from a fully intact ship. There isn't any. No blood, no weapons drawn, no broken furniture, no forced doors. A sword found on board later gets rumored to have bloodstains on it, a detail that turns out to be entirely fictional, invented over a decade later in a short story by a young writer named Arthur Conan Doyle. That story got mistaken for fact by readers for generations. The RAWLYTICS investigation found nothing of the sort. What the real evidence shows is this. Something convinced an experienced captain, in decent weather, to abandon a ship that wasn't sinking. And that decision cost every person aboard their life. The Mary Celeste was found completely intact. The 10 people who left it were never seen again. Picture it from Briggs' side. 9 barrels have leaked or been checked and found empty. That's enough alcohol vapor rising from an open hold to make an experienced sailor nervous, especially with no clear source for the smell. He orders the hatch covers off, trying to vent it. Maybe he hears something below decks he doesn't like. A groan of timber, a shift in the water level that convinces him the ship is taking on more than it actually is. He makes the call. Into the yawl, the ship's small boat, with his wife, his daughter, and his crew. The plan, most likely, is to stay close, tethered by that rope trailing off the stern, and wait until it's safe to climb back aboard. Then the rope breaks, or the weather turns before they can get back. Either way, the sea does what it always does to a small boat with no mothership nearby. It separates them, and it doesn't give them back. The Mary Celeste keeps drifting empty for at least 8 days before the Dei Grazia spots her. Whatever happened to the 10 people in that yawl happened somewhere out in the open Atlantic, out of sight of any ship, any land, any chance of rescue. No wreckage from the yawl was ever found. Nobody is washed ashore. The only trace of 10 human lives is the ship they left behind, and every object still sitting exactly where they'd left it. Some believe the fumigation theory comes closest to the truth, fear of an alcohol vapor explosion. However unlikely that explosion actually was, is still enough to explain a rushed evacuation from experienced crew. Others point to a seaquake theory, an underwater tremor that could have jolted the ship, disturbed the cargo, and convinced Briggs the vessel was failing beneath him. More than 150 years later, the Mary Celeste still shows up in maritime law courses, insurance case studies, and documentaries like this one. Not because it was the deadliest disaster at sea. It wasn't. It's because it's the rare mystery with almost too much evidence, all of it pointing nowhere. 10 people stepped off a ship that never sank. Whatever they were running from, or running toward, went into the water with them and never came back. If you think this is strange, wait till you see what happened to 27 men in the sky over open ocean decades later. Click that video right now. You won't regret it.